7 drill bit, and it's a keyless chuck, which isn't the greatest for reversing, but it does work. Just chuck my 1/4 inch 1/4 20 tap in, and put a drop of Cool Tool on it. Come up to the work and just sort of get it going a little bit. And then go reverse, and you've got a tapped hole. Here's the foot control, which is normally on the ground. I modified it with a pot inside, and it would normally be just on-off switches for some machine. I got it surplus. So when I hit it to the left, it goes reverse, and when I push it slightly on the right, it goes forward. And the forward goes up to fairly high speed, and the reverse, the way I've got it set up electronically, only goes partially, because you don't usually have to go that fast in reverse. Here's another case. It's a steel this time. I tapped aluminum before. Here's a, I'm going to tap it for 3/8/16 threads, and so I've got the appropriate drill bit, which is a little bigger than what I was using before. This is my rebuilt 1950s Delta drill press. I bought it at a foundry auction, which is a pretty dumb place to buy machinery, but it was the first project I did about 25 years ago, and I ended up completely rebuilding it. Thankfully, Delta still had the spindle, bearings, all the parts to rebuild the thing. So I'm glad I did. It was a good experience. And it's a heavy built drill press. I don't think you can buy them like this anymore. So I was always concerned about, you turn the thing on and it's pretty wild drilling and stuff without any control, because your hands are usually busy and it's hard to even get to the on-off switch. So with foot control, it makes it, I think, much safer and much easier. So with my setup, with my variable frequency drive, I start and stop it still with that, so I don't have a separate power switch. It's on all the time. And it's a fairly simple circuit that converts my foot pedal, which is converted from just 2 on-off switches, which is kind of a standard machine foot control, to a pot, which you discussed in your video. And I'll take it apart and show you in a minute. But here I'm drilling through a piece of 1/8 inch. I'm holding it in a vise, and I think that's a smart thing to do, of course. But if there's a center punch, this isn't, you can just start, have complete control, and use the speed you want. And then when you get near you're going to punch through, you can slow way down for that nasty grab at the end as you punch through. Good control, and you make your hole. So I'm going to get a tap, and I'll tap it. I'll see if I can just hold it in the chuck. Sometimes you have to use a holder. A little bit of Cool Tool, which works on both aluminum and steel. So so you can see, I could just very slowly come into the work. Stop it, and then reverse my way out, and it's tapped. Ordinarily, like a piece of fairly thin material like this, it's kind of scary to enlarge the hole. I'm going to enlarge what I just tapped with a 1/2 inch drill bit. Here's a 1/2 inch drill bit. I'm going to have to lower the table, of course. Get it under there. So same thing, what I do is I can just sort of set the thing on it, get it squared up, and then walk my way into it. This is a lot scarier on a regular drill press because it's running. So, perfect control. And if it jams, you can always just pop it backwards a little bit and walk it out. So, it makes a drill press operation kind of a joy this way. I find it kind of interesting to see other people's shops. I know people are sensitive about showing their stuff. They don't want to get robbed or anything, but I just have a 2-car garage and it's quite full. There's the drill press I've been working with, and then one of my workbenches is quite full, and I have a little bit of collection of old things. I got a meter out of an old transmitter and showing kilovolts, but I converted it to a thermometer in my shop, so it's just a little over 70 degrees in here. And then the clock was probably out of a Western Union office or something from the 30s, and I turned it into kind of a digital clock. So fun. So I like to collect meters and old things. So just any odd bits that I find, telegraph sounder, that kind of stuff. Here's my lathe. You can see the variable frequency drive. It's a 5-horse, but it's a 7-horse motor in the lathe, but it works. It's a 15 by 48 closing, probably made in the late 40s or 50s. It's in pretty good shape. I've got an Aloris tool post and a set true 3-jaw chuck that I use for everything. So I can usually zero the work out pretty easily with that. I'd like to regrind the jaws. I really enjoyed that video you had of redoing the jaws. I think I'm going to do that someday. And then I took the time. I don't think you can have a machine shop without a Bridgeport or milling machine. This is mine. It's probably from the 70s, 60s or 70s. I've got a Sony digital readout on it, and as you can see, a inexpensive plastic caliper for my quill depth. I also have a variable frequency drive on it. I didn't have 3-phase in my shop. I had a old 5-horse 3-phase motor I converted. I'd rope start the thing to make my 3-phase, but that was kind of a pain. So now I've got a quiet shop most of the time, and when I turn on a machine, it just runs. No fooling around with 3-phase.